Hey, this is Charlie Thompson, and this is a quick video on how to use Google Earth for all of the labs that you'll need to use Google Earth with. This video will go over how to set up the settings. There's a bunch of settings you're going to need to change from their default in order to use Google Earth for these labs. We'll go over how to turn on and turn off the latitude-longitude grid lines, how to change the units from metric to feet and back, how to find latitude, longitude, and also the elevation of the spot that you're looking at, how to search for places, how to navigate, and I'll say this again, but you really need to use a mouse, and how to get help. If you've never used Google Earth before, you will be an expert by the end of the semester, but if you're just starting off, it's always nice to know how to get help. Spoiler, the question mark key. So, if you're going to use Google Earth, you need a mouse. I can't use a trackpad. I can't use my phone. Buy a $5 gas station mouse. The cheapest mouse possible will work just fine. You'll also want to use a screen larger than your phone in order to clearly see the locations and the information. So there's two ways that you can open Google Earth. Number one, and the way that you're going to be using this semester most of the time, is just click on the link in the assignment and that'll open up the Google Earth web page. So this video will also tell you what Google Earth is telling you or showing you on the screen. It'll show you the latitude, longitude, and the elevation of the ground surface, and it'll show you those values for the location directly under your cursor. So if you move your cursor, the latitude, longitude, and elevation will probably change. That's the way it's supposed to work. Google Earth will also show you the altitude of the virtual camera, like how high your virtual eyeballs are above the ground. We never want that value. I will only be asking you about the elevation of the ground surface. So Google Earth shortcuts, find a list of keyboard shortcuts, hit the question mark arrow. Of all of these, the most important one is the one that I've put in bold here, to reset the view. Because you can tilt your view, you can rotate your view, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can do all kinds of crazy things and end up with a view that is useless to you. If you hit the R key, just press the R button, it'll reset the view, it will put you directly overhead, and it will rotate the map or the view so that north is at the top. So let's dive in. So here's your lab, the lab activity. There's a pre-quiz that you'll have every week with simpler questions, and then you'll have the actual lab activity. So for the lab activity, we're just going to click on Google Earth here, and then Google Earth will launch. I'm going to full screen. And in this view, there are tools available for you to use that you'll have to use for these assignments. But when you launch the assignment, when you launch this, you won't be able to use them until you click this left arrow to exit the slideshow view. So now it's got the tools. I've got the place marks for the assignment in the sidebar, and that'll allow me to not only click on the place mark to zoom to it, but also will allow me to use the tools. In later labs, you'll have to measure distances, and the only way to get at the measure distance tool is to get out of the slideshow mode. So now we're in here, we're going to have to make some settings. Some changes to the settings. So we're going to go to Tools, go to Settings, and for rendering quality, if you have a slower computer, you're going to want to slide that to fastest. I'm going to put mine on best. Application theme, not important. Default view, not really important. Formats and units. This is super duper duper important. So the unit system. We want imperial. We want feet and miles. The distance unit, feet and miles. Area unit, feet and miles. Latitude, longitude formatting. Right now it's set up in degrees, minutes, and seconds. We want decimal. If the answer, or rather, if this setting isn't set to decimal, your answers will be confusing and wrong. That's it for all of those. I'm going to click on Done. And you can also click on layers. That's also going to be important. Layers determine what it shows, like clean. It's not going to show you any street names. I'm going to leave it on everything for now. The other elements I wanted to show you, 3D buildings, you need to make sure that is turned on. And finally, layers, we want grid lines, show latitude, longitude grid lines. So now I've got grid lines. So now we can close out the layers. And those grid line divisions, as I zoom out and zoom in, those divisions are going to change. And eventually it's going to load the labels on it. In fact, let's go over here where it looks the background looks a little darker. As I zoom, in fact, let's just zoom all the way out. So right now I've got a 10-degree grid. The lines of latitude are 10 degrees apart. The lines of longitude are 10 degrees apart. And as I zoom in, it's going to change from 10 degrees to 5 degrees. So now we've got a 5-degree grid. If we keep zooming in, now we have a 1-degree grid. If we keep zooming in, we'll get a half-degree grid. Now we've got a 1/10 of a degree, and so on and so on. From this view, the other thing that I wanted to show you is what it's telling us. So as I move my mouse around down here in the lower right-hand corner, it's showing the camera elevation, 28 miles. It's showing the latitude and longitude and elevation, 109 feet. Under where the cursor is. So as I move my cursor, in fact, if I zoom out a bit, that'll be more dramatic. As I zoom out, so now it's showing the latitude is roughly 30 degrees, 35, 40 degrees, 45 degrees. Yeah, I think that's about everything that you'll need to know for this lab, and at least to get started with Google Earth. That's it. If you have any questions, you've got my cell phone. Please text me, please call me, or email me, whatever works best for you. That's it, and I hope you enjoy the lab.